Welcome back to Twisted Pine Homestead.
Yeah.
We're always talking about embracing a more sustainable and self-sufficient way of life.
Always.
And today, we're diving deep into the world of raising chickens,
So fun.
specifically off-grid chicken keeping.
Okay.
With a little help from a book called The Off-Grid Chicken Keeper, we'll uncover the key takeaways, practical tips,
Sounds good.
and maybe even a few surprises along the way. By the way, if you want to grab a copy of the book for yourself, you'll find a link in the episode description.
Yeah, what's really interesting about this book is how it connects raising chickens to the bigger picture.
Okay.
Like thinking about the environment responsible land use, even community resilience.
Huh?
It's not just about collecting those fresh eggs.
Right.
It's about becoming a steward of your own little ecosystem.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's break that down a little.
Right.
What makes this approach to raising chickens so different?
Sure.
And why should our listeners even care?
Well, think of it this way. With traditional chicken farming, the focus is often on maximizing output, sometimes even at the expense of the chicken's well-being or the environment.
Yeah, for that.
But off-grid chicken keeping emphasizes a more harmonious relationship
Okay.
between the chickens, your land, and your own self-sufficiency.
So it's less about that factory-style production and more about creating a balanced system where everyone benefits.
Exactly. And that's where the off-grid part really comes in.
I
It's
gotcha.
about reducing reliance on external systems, whether that's commercial feed water sources or even energy.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think for some of us, when we picture off-grid living, we imagine something out in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Can this really work in a typical suburban setting?
Absolutely. The book addresses this directly. It's about adapting these principles to whatever space you have. Whether it's a sprawling backyard or a cozy urban garden, you can create raised beds, vertical gardens, even design your coop to be compact and aesthetically pleasing.
Oh, nice.
It's all about being resourceful.
I like it. So even if you don't have acres of land, you can still have fresh eggs from happy chickens.
Exactly.
But let's be real, you can't just plop any old chickens in your backyard and call it a day,
No.
right? How do you even choose the right breed for this kind of setup?
Well, the book actually frames it as a matchmaking process.
Oh, fine.
It all depends on what you're hoping to achieve.
Right.
If your main goal is to have a steady supply of eggs,
Right.
then breeds like Leghorns, known for their egg-laying prowess, might be your best bet.
Okay.
They can lay almost an egg a day.
Wow, that's a lot of eggs.
It is.
But what if you're looking for more than just eggs? What about meat?
That's where dual-purpose breeds come in, like Orpingtons or Plymouth Rocks. They're a good choice if you want that balance of egg production and meat.
Gotcha. So it's like choosing the right tool for the job.
Exactly.
You wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a light bulb.
Nope.
Same idea with chickens.
Exactly.
But the book also mentions these heritage breeds. What makes them so special?
Heritage breeds are fascinating. They're like living history. Think of them as the heirloom tomatoes of the chicken world.
Okay.
They've been around for generations, often adapted to specific climates and conditions, and they tend to be more resilient to diseases and have a longer lifespan.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we've found our perfect chicken match.
Okay.
Now we need a place for them to live. The coop.
Of course.
What are the key things to consider when designing a coop, specifically for that off-grid living?
Well, the book emphasizes that the coop is more than just a shelter. It's a crucial part of your off-grid ecosystem.
Right.
Location is key. Think about sunlight shade, good drainage to prevent disease, and of course protection from predators.
You don't want to wake up one morning to find your chickens have become a fox's breakfast.
Exactly. The book also suggests using reclaimed wood as a building material,
Oh, nice.
which is both practical and sustainable.
It's like giving new life to old materials.
And when it comes to the design itself, there are a lot of creative and innovative solutions. Think about things like ventilation, which is crucial for maintaining a healthy environment for your birds.
Makes sense.
And with that off-grid focus, you might consider incorporating renewable energy sources like solar panels to power lighting or heating in the coop.
Very cool. So we're not just building a coop, we're creating a sustainable mini ecosystem for our feathered friends.
Exactly. And that sustainable mindset extends to how we feed our chickens.
Okay.
There's this ongoing debate about foraging versus commercial feed. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I've always loved that image of chickens happily scratching around in the dirt, finding their own snacks.
Yeah.
But I also know that nutrition is super important, especially for healthy egg production.
Right.
So what does the book recommend?
It actually suggests a hybrid approach. Foraging is great for enriching their diet and allowing them to express natural behaviors.
Plus, it's probably a lot of fun for them.
Right. But it might not be enough, especially in colder months or if you have limited space for them to forage.
Okay.
Commercial feed provides a balanced diet, but can be expensive and doesn't always align with sustainable practices.
So maybe a combination of the two is the sweet spot.
Exactly. The book encourages finding that balance that works for you and your flock. And here's the challenge it poses. Why not try growing some of your own chicken feed?
Ooh, that's next level homesteading.
Yeah.
I love the idea of closing the loop on our food system even more.
Exactly. And speaking of closing the loop, the book also emphasizes the importance of composting chicken manure.
Okay.
It's a fantastic way to create nutrient-rich fertilizer for your garden.
So it's like a win-win situation. Your chickens are happy, your garden's thriving, and you're reducing waste.
It's all about creating that sustainable cycle where everything benefits.
I love it. But before we dive deeper into that cycle, let's take a quick pause. For those of you who are enjoying this deep dive into the world of off-grid chicken keeping, we'd love for you to hit that like button, share this episode with your friends, and subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes.
And if you're feeling extra generous, you can always buy us a coffee.
We run on caffeine and chicken facts around here. You can find the link in the episode description. Now, back to the fascinating world of chickens. We were just talking about the benefits of composting chicken manure.
Right. It's an incredibly valuable resource for any homesteader.
Yeah.
It's packed with nutrients that your plants will absolutely love, and it's surprisingly easy to do.
Oh, good.
The book provides some simple instructions for creating a compost pile, and you can even use a composting system right in your coop to break down the waste naturally.
That's pretty amazing. So we're not only providing food for our chickens, but they're providing us with a way to nourish our gardens. It's like this beautiful cycle of giving back.
Exactly. And speaking of cycles, the book also talks about rotational grazing. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard the term, but I'm not entirely sure what it entails.
It's a simple but effective practice where you move your chickens to different areas of your property on a regular basis. This prevents overgrazing, gives the grass time to recover, and reduces the buildup of parasites and diseases.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not just good for the land, it's good for the chicken's health, too.
Exactly. And it also encourages them to forage more naturally, which, as we discussed earlier, is beneficial for their diet and overall well-being.
So it's like a win-win for both the chickens and the environment.
Precisely. And this interconnectedness is a theme that runs throughout the book. It encourages us to think about our homesteads as integrated systems where everything is connected.
That reminds me of something else the book emphasizes, the importance of water, especially in an off-grid setup. You can't have a thriving homestead without a reliable source of clean water for your chickens.
Absolutely. Water is essential for their health and for egg production, and the book offers some creative solutions for sourcing water sustainably, especially in areas where droughts might be a concern.
Like what?
Well, rainwater harvesting is a big one. Imagine collecting rainwater from your roof and storing it in barrels or tanks. This provides a natural source of water that's free and readily available.
That's a fantastic idea. I love the simplicity of it.
And it's a great way to reduce reliance on municipal water systems or well water, which can be strained during dry periods.
So we're becoming more self-sufficient and helping to conserve water.
Exactly. And the book also suggests incorporating rain gardens into your landscape. These are depressions in the ground that are planted with water-loving vegetation. They help to absorb runoff, filter pollutants, and provide a habitat for beneficial wildlife.
Okay, I'm picturing a lush rain garden with chickens happily pecking around the edges. Sounds idyllic.
It can be, but even in an idyllic off-grid chicken setup, there are challenges, right? Things like diseases or predators that can threaten your flock's well-being.
That's a concern that I think a lot of people have, especially those who are new to chicken keeping. What does the book say about those challenges? Does it offer any practical advice?
It does. It goes into detail about common chicken diseases, providing a sort of chicken first aid kit to help you identify and address potential issues. But more importantly, it emphasizes prevention.
Right. It's always better to prevent a problem than to have to deal with it after the fact.
Exactly. And the book advocates for a holistic approach to chicken health, focusing on building their immunity naturally.
So it's not just about treating symptoms. It's about creating an environment where chickens can thrive and resist diseases in the first place.
Precisely. And this involves things like providing them with a balanced diet, plenty of fresh air and exercise, and minimizing stress.
Okay, so what about predators? We talked about coop design being important for security, but are there other things we can do to protect our flock?
Definitely. The book offers a range of strategies, from simple things like keeping the coop clean and free of attractants to more elaborate solutions like electric fencing or motion-activated sprinklers to deter those pesky raccoons and foxes.
Those sound pretty effective. But I imagine even with all the precautions, sometimes things happen. Chickens get sick, predators get in. It can be disheartening.
Absolutely. And the book acknowledges those realities. It doesn't shy away from the facts there will be challenges, but it also emphasizes the importance of learning from those experiences and building resilience as a homesteader.
So it's not about being perfect, it's about being prepared and adaptable.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that you're not alone in this journey. The book encourages building connections with other chicken keepers in your community, sharing knowledge, resources, and support.
That's so important. It's easy to feel isolated when you're first starting out, so
Yeah.
having a network of like-minded people to turn to can make all the difference.
Absolutely. And this community aspect goes beyond just practical support. It's about building a sense of shared purpose, working together to create a more sustainable and resilient local food system.
Okay, we've talked a lot about the practicalities of off-grid chicken keeping, but what about the emotional side of things? What's it like to actually live with these creatures and share your space with them?
That's a great question, and it's something that the book touches on beautifully. It talks about the unexpected joys and challenges of having chickens as part of your daily life.
Oh, tell me more. I'm all about those unexpected moments.
Well, many chicken keepers talk about the sense of peace and grounding that comes from spending time with their flock. It's like a daily dose of mindfulness, being present in the moment, observing their behaviors, and attending to their needs.
It sounds incredibly therapeutic.
It can be. There's something about the simplicity of their lives, the natural rhythms of the day that can be very calming. And it's a great way to disconnect from the digital world and reconnect with nature.
Plus, there's something inherently funny about chickens. Their antics can really brighten your day.
Absolutely. They have such distinct personalities, and watching them interact with each other can be endlessly entertaining.
Okay, so there's the peace, the humor, the connection to nature. But are there any downsides? What about those days when things aren't so idyllic?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, there will be challenges. There might be times when you're dealing with a sick chicken or a predator scare, or maybe you just have a day where everything seems to go wrong. And those days can be emotionally draining.
So it's not all sunshine and fresh eggs.
It's not. But the book emphasizes that those challenges are part of the journey. And often it's in those difficult moments that we learn the most about ourselves and about the resilience of nature.
So it's about embracing the whole experience, the
Yeah.
good and the bad, and finding a way to navigate those challenges with grace and determination.
Exactly. And it's about remembering that you're not alone. There's a whole community of chicken keepers out there who have faced similar challenges and who are there to offer support and guidance.
That's so reassuring. Knowing that you have a community to lean on can make all the difference.
Absolutely. And when you connect with other chicken sheepers, you realize that you're part of something much larger than yourself. You're part of a movement towards a more sustainable and fulfilling way of life.
I love that. It's not just about the chickens, it's about creating a better world for all of us.
Exactly. And with resources like the off-grid chicken keeper to guide us, we can all play a role in making that vision a reality.
So, we've talked a lot about the practical stuff, but this book also talks about natural remedies and preventative care for the chickens.
Mm-hmm.
And, that really aligns with our kind of whole holistic approach to homesteading.
Yeah, for sure. The book actually dives into a whole world of natural remedies,
Oh, cool.
using herbs, essential oils, probiotics to keep your chickens healthy.
Okay.
It's definitely a far cry from relying only on conventional medications,
Right.
which sometimes can have unintended consequences.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I've always been curious about the power of herbs, but I've never really thought about using them for chickens.
Hmm.
What are some examples that could be beneficial for their health?
Well, garlic is a powerhouse.
For everything.
It's known for its antiviral and antibacterial properties,
Yeah.
and it can help boost the immune system.
Right.
You can add it to their feed or water, or even plant it around their coop to deter pests.
Oh, that's a great tip.
Yeah.
And garlic is good for humans too, so
Yeah.
it's like a double win.
Yeah, exactly.
What about other herbs?
Oregano is another good one.
Okay.
It's a natural antibiotic and can help with respiratory issues.
Okay.
And chamomile is known for its calming properties, so that can be helpful if your chickens are stressed or anxious.
So it's almost like creating a little apothecary for your chickens.
Yeah.
Using nature's medicine cabinet to keep them healthy.
And the book also talks about the importance of probiotics for gut health, just like in humans.
Right.
A healthy gut microbiome is crucial for the chicken's overall well-being.
That makes a lot of sense. How do you introduce probiotics to chickens, though?
You can add fermented foods to their diet, like yogurt or kefir, or you can purchase probiotic supplements specifically designed for poultry. It's all about supporting those good bacteria in their digestive systems.
Huh. This is fascinating. So off-grid chicken keeping isn't just about being self-sufficient. It's also about becoming more attuned to the natural world and understanding how to work with it.
It's about embracing a more holistic approach to life, and that extends to how we care for our animals.
Okay, so we've covered food, water, shelter, natural remedies. Now what about the challenges that come with different seasons? I imagine winterizing the coop is a big one, especially in colder climates.
It is. And the book offers some really practical advice on how to keep your chickens warm and comfortable during those frigid months.
Like what I'm always cold in the winter, so I can only imagine what it's like for chickens.
Well, one key thing is to make sure the coop is well insulated.
Mm.
You can use hay bale straw or even rigid foam insulation to help trap heat inside.
That's smart. It's like putting a warm blanket around the coop.
Exactly. And you can also add a heat source like a heat lamp or a radiant heater, especially during extreme cold snaps.
But what about the risk of fire? I know heat lamps can be a bit of a hazard.
You're right, safety is paramount. The book emphasizes the importance of using heat sources responsibly,
Okay,
making sure they're properly installed and monitored to prevent any accidents.
that makes sense. What about summer heat?
That's another important one. The book suggests providing plenty of shade and ventilation to keep the coop cool. You can install fans, misting systems, or even create a shallow wading pool for your chickens to cool off in.
Oh, that's a fun idea. I bet they'd love that.
Yeah,
So it's all about adapting to the specific challenges of each season and making sure your chickens are comfortable year-round.
precisely. And the book also emphasizes the importance of observation. Pay attention to your chicken's behaviors, look for any signs of stress or discomfort, and adjust your care accordingly.
It's about being a good steward of your flock, understanding their needs and responding to them.
Exactly. And that stewardship extends to the land itself. The book encourages us to think about how our chicken keeping practices impact the environment around us.
You mean things like composting the manure and using rotational grazing?
Those are great examples.
Yeah.
And it also talks about the importance of choosing sustainable materials for your coop and minimizing your reliance on fossil fuels.
So it's not just about taking care of your chickens, it's about taking care of the planet as well.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the most powerful messages of this book, that off-grid chicken keeping isn't just a lifestyle choice. It's a philosophy of living in harmony with nature.
I love that. It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected and that our actions have consequences for the world around us.
It's about becoming more conscious consumers, more responsible stewards of our resources, and more active participants in creating a sustainable future.
And with the off-grid chicken keeper as our guide, we can all take steps in that direction.
Absolutely. This book has been a wealth of information and inspiration.
It really has.
And I hope our listeners have enjoyed this deep dive into the world of off-grid chicken keeping.
I know I have. It's been an eye-opening journey, and I feel like I've learned so much about chickens, about sustainable living, and about myself.
And for those who are ready to embark on their own chicken keeping adventures, I'd encourage you to check out the book. You can find the link in the episode description.
It's a fantastic resource. It'll guide you every step of the way, from choosing the right breed, to designing the perfect coop, to creating a thriving ecosystem in your backyard.
And remember, you're not alone in this journey. There's a whole community of chicken keepers out there who are eager to share their knowledge and support. So reach out, connect, and learn from each other.
Together, we can create a more sustainable and fulfilling world, one backyard flock at a time.
And that brings us to the end of our deep dive.
Thank you for joining us on this adventure into the world of off-grid chicken keeping.
We hope you've gleaned some valuable insights and inspiration for your own homesteading journey.
And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep those chickens happy.
Thanks for listening to Twisted Pine Homestead.